There are stories that echo through the ages, tales whispered from generation to generation. They become part of our collective memory. The story of a great flood is one of these powerful tales. It is a story of destruction, a story of a world washed clean, a story of a new beginning. We find it etched into the clay tablets of ancient Sumeria. We hear it in the chants of indigenous tribes across the continents, and we read it in the sacred texts of major world religions. The idea of a global cataclysm, a deluge that reshaped the very face of our planet, has captured the human imagination for millennia. Why does this story hold such power over us? Perhaps it is the sheer scale of it. The thought of the entire world submerged beneath an endless ocean is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. It speaks to a deep-seated fear of nature's immense power. It reminds us of our own fragility in the grand cosmic scheme. Let's journey back in our minds. Let's try to paint a picture of this antediluvian world, this earth before the great rains. The book of Genesis, one of the most well-known sources, offers a curious description. It says, "A mist went up from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground." This simple line suggests a world without rain as we know it. Imagine a planet where the water cycle was fundamentally different. A world where a gentle, ever-present vapor rose from the ground and the seas blanketing the land in a perpetual, life-giving dew. What would such a world feel like? The air would be thick with moisture, creating a greenhouse-like environment. The temperatures would likely be uniform and mild across the globe, from the poles to the equator. There would be no harsh seasons, no brutal winters or scorching summers. Instead, a constant, gentle warmth would nurture a planet teeming with life. Ancient scriptures are like time capsules. They carry messages from a distant past, offering us glimpses into the minds and worlds of our ancestors. When we look for clues about the time before the flood, these texts are a primary source. The biblical account in Genesis paints a picture of a human population that was long-lived and growing in wickedness. It speaks of a time when the wickedness of man was great in the earth. Every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This suggests a society that had lost its way, a world spiraling into moral decay despite its idyllic environment. This moral decline is a common theme. It is as if the paradise-like conditions were not enough to ensure peace. The stories tell of violence and corruption filling the earth, but the texts also speak of other beings. Genesis chapter 6 famously mentions the sons of God who saw the daughters of men and took them as wives. Their offspring were the Nephilim, mighty men who were of old, men of renown. If we step away from ancient texts and look at the Earth itself, what does science tell us? Geologists and paleontologists are the detectives of our planet's deep past. They study layers of rock ice cores fossils to reconstruct what Earth was like millions of years ago. Their findings paint a picture of a world that has gone through dramatic transformations. There have been times when the planet was much warmer than it is today, with no ice at the poles. These periods align, in a way, with the idea of a globally temperate, misty world described in some traditions. Think about the atmosphere. Today, our atmosphere is about 21% oxygen. But what if it was different in the distant past? Some scientific models evidence from amber core samples oxygen levels could have been much higher, perhaps as high as 35%. What would a high-oxygen world be like? It would have had profound effects on life. Fires would burn hotter and faster. So if the environment was different, what about the creatures that lived in it? This is where the story gets truly spectacular. The fossil record gives us a breathtaking glimpse into a world of giants. We've all heard of the dinosaurs, those terrible lizards that ruled the earth for millions of years. But you know, the giants didn't stop there. Imagine dragonflies with the wingspan of an eagle, millipedes growing over 6 feet long, giant sloths the size of elephants, sharks that could swallow a small boat whole. The past was really a land of giants. Could these creatures have coexisted with early humans? Mainstream science places a vast gulf of time, about 65 million years, between the last dinosaurs and the first humans. But still, the stories persist. Myths and legends worldwide tell of heroes battling dragons and giant monsters. These depictions sometimes look remarkably like dinosaurs. Are these just imagination, or faint distorted memories of humans living with giant reptiles? The idea is controversial, but it refuses to die. The story of a great world-ending flood is not unique to one culture or one religion. It is honestly a universal story. Look at this, a world map showing flood myths worldwide. If we travel around the globe and listen to the oldest tales, from the Americas to Australia, from India to Scandinavia, the details may change. The name of the hero, the type of boat, the duration of the reign, but the core elements remain startlingly consistent. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the gods decide to destroy humanity with a flood. The god Ea warns a man named Utnapishtim. He is instructed to build a great boat. He saves his family. He saves the seed of all living things. After the flood, the boat comes to rest on a mountain. He sends out a dove and a raven to see if the waters have receded. One of the most mind-boggling claims in ancient texts about the pre-flood world is the incredible lifespan of its inhabitants. The book of Genesis lists a genealogy from Adam to Noah where individuals routinely live for over 900 years. Adam is said to have lived 930 years, Seth lived 912 years. Methuselah, the oldest of them all, is recorded as living for an astonishing 969 years. To our modern sensibilities accustomed to a lifespan of 80 or 90 years, these numbers seem impossible, like mythological exaggerations. But what if they were not? What if people in the ancient world really did live that long? How could such a thing be possible? We have already touched on some potential scientific explanations. A world with a denser atmosphere, shielded from cosmic and solar radiation by a vapor canopy, and a stronger magnetic field, would be a world with far less environmental stress on the body. Cellular decay, the very process of aging, could have been dramatically slowed. Let's pause for a moment and ask a powerful question. What if? What if the core of these ancient stories is true? What if there really was a global civilization before a great flood? Different climate giant creatures, people who lived for centuries. The implications are staggering. Our understanding of human history is incomplete. A massive lost chapter in our story, Civilization Zero. It predates the Sumerians. It predates the Egyptians. It predates what we call the dawn of history. Imagine that world, lifespan stretching over 900 years, knowledge passed directly across many generations, a person conversing with their great-great-great-great-grandfather. The accumulation of knowledge and skill would be immense. What technology could they develop? What marvels of engineering, art, and science could they achieve? So why do we keep coming back to this story? Why, in our modern world of science and technology, are we still so captivated by the idea of a world before the flood? I believe it is because the story touches on some of our deepest human longings. It speaks to our desire for a simpler, more perfect world. The vision of a global garden, peace, abundance, longevity, is a powerful antidote to the anxieties of our own time. It represents a lost paradise, a home we can only dimly remember but deeply long for. The story also satisfies our love of a great mystery. The pre-flood world is the ultimate cold case. The evidence is scattered and cryptic. The witnesses are long gone. It requires us to become detectives. Mythology, geology, ancient art. We are searching for a ghost civilization. This quest for the unknown, the thrill of potentially uncovering a secret that would rewrite history, is an irresistible siren call for the curious mind. Its secrets are still waiting to be discovered.